Hello, this is Danielle Yawowiecka with the BBC News. People in Hong Kong are voting in the first election since China imposed sweeping changes on the territory's political system. Every candidate has been approved by a pro-Beijing committee, and most opposition groups aren't taking part. Here's Danny Vincent.
There's been a huge consequence of the 2019 protest movement. There's been incredible turmoil here in Hong Kong. Many critics will say that this is not really an election process, it's more of a selection process because the candidates that are standing have already been vetted. But the authorities would argue that they've attempted to and successfully tried to remove what they would describe as anti-China elements, which they said that were present in the political system in the past. They say that elections like this are essentially attempting to restore stability to this city.
The Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte has announced a coronavirus lockdown to begin within hours to combat a surge in Omicron coronavirus infections. All but essential shops will close throughout Christmas and New Year until mid-January. More from Anna Holligan in The Hague.
The Dutch don't like chaos, so the fact these new rules are being introduced a few days before Christmas at the last minute really underlines the urgency here. The Dutch Prime Minister said all non-essential shops will be closed, plus people can only have a maximum of 2 house visitors a day. That will be increased to 4 over Christmas and on New Year's Eve. The new measures are being met with a mixture of disbelief and dismay, and they have thrown Dutch Christmas preparations into disarray.
Germany has become the latest European country to ban most travellers from Britain to try to slow the spread of the Omicron variant. German nationals and residents will still be allowed to enter from the UK, but they must have a negative test and quarantine for 2 weeks, regardless of whether they've been vaccinated. The measures take effect on Monday. Britain's Brexit minister has resigned, dealing another blow to the embattled Prime Minister Boris Johnson. In a resignation letter, David Frost said he would step down immediately. Damien Grammaticus reports.
Lord Frost's letter indicated his dislike of what he called coercive COVID measures and spoke of his concerns at the current direction of travel, saying he would rather see a lightly regulated low-tax economy. In reply, Boris Johnson wrote that he was grateful for all Lord Frost had achieved. But the resignation adds to Mr Johnson's woes. The Prime Minister's authority was already damaged by crises over sleaze and Christmas parties, as well as the shock by-election defeat for the Tories in North Shropshire. Now he's lost a minister who was key to getting him into office, and he looks more vulnerable than ever.
World News from the BBC. The most powerful storm to hit the Philippines this year is now known to have killed 75 people. Most of those who died were in the central province of Bohol. President Rodrigo Duterte has carried out an aerial inspection of the areas hit by the storm, which brought ferocious winds and heavy rain. It first struck the Philippines on Thursday before tearing across other parts of the country. The typhoon is now heading towards Vietnam. With doubts growing about whether Libya's presidential election can go ahead as scheduled on the 24th of December, the UN Special Advisor to the country, Stephanie Williams, has had talks with one of the most controversial candidates, Khalifa Haftar. She travelled to General Haftar's eastern stronghold, Benghazi, for the meeting. There are no details. There have been bitter disputes over who is eligible to stand. The acclaimed British architect Richard Rogers has died at his home in London. He was 88. Born in Florence, his family left fascist Italy on the eve of the Second World War. Nick Hyam reports.
Richard Rogers made his name with the Pompidou Centre in Paris. With its bright pop art shapes and colours and services like air conditioning on the outside of the building, it looked more like an oil refinery than a cultural centre. It established him as one of the leading lights of high-tech architecture. In London, he built the equally striking Lloyd's Building, Heathrow Airport's Terminal 5, and the Millennium Dome, a lightweight engineering marvel. Breathtaking engineering was a Rogers hallmark, applied to buildings across Europe and later the world.
And the Brazilian former football star Ronaldo says he's buying the club where he made his professional debut. Cruzeiro currently compete in the second tier of Brazil's Football League system. Ronaldo said he wanted to take the team back to where they deserve to be. He'll reportedly pay $70 million to become the main shareholder. Ronaldo first played for Cruzeiro when he was 16. BBC News.